You know what? Russia needs North Korea now more than ever. For most of the Cold War, the Soviet Union was the powerful partner. North Korea depended on Moscow for weapons, technology, and everything. Today, that relationship is partially reversed. Russia is fighting the largest war in Europe since World War II, and increasingly it needs North Korea. North Korean artillery ammunition has been sent to Russia. North Korean ballistic missiles have appeared in the war also, and North Korean soldiers have fought alongside Russian forces. Hey, quick favor. I'm trying to get this channel to 5,000 subscribers as quick as possible. If you like what you're hearing, you know what to do. Now let's get back at it. Okay, this isn't simply an unusual alliance between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. It's a transaction. Russia needs ammunition, weapons, manpower. North Korea needs money, energy, technology, diplomatic protection, and access to Russian military expertise. And that exchange could have consequences far beyond Ukraine. Now, why does Russia need North Korean ammunition? Well, the simplest answer is quantity. As it turns out, modern warfare consumes an astonishing amount of ammunition. Every day, shells, rockets, missiles, drones, vehicles, and spare parts are being used or destroyed. Russia has a massive defense industry and has dramatically increased military production. But producing a lot isn't necessarily the same as producing enough for a long war. That's where North Korea becomes valuable. For decades, North Korea prepared for another possible war with South Korea. As a result, it built enormous stockpiles of artillery ammunition, and much of that ammunition is compatible with Soviet-designed systems already used in Russia. Estimates suggest North Korea has supplied Russia with millions of artillery rounds, along with ballistic missiles and other military equipment. Some of those weapons may be older, less sophisticated than Russia's, but Russia doesn't need every shell to be perfect. It needs enough shells to keep its artillery firing, enough missiles to pressure Ukrainian air defenses, and enough supplies to prevent Ukraine from simply waiting for Russian stockpiles to run down. What North Korea does is effectively give Russia another source of military production, another source of ammunition, another source of missiles, and increasingly another source of manpower. But North Korea isn't doing this for free. So what does North Korea get? North Korea has plenty of artillery shells. What it lacks are things that are much harder to produce: energy, money, modern technology, diplomatic support, and advanced military knowledge, and Russia can potentially provide all of them. North Korea remains heavily sanctioned and economically isolated. Russia has oil, food, industrial materials, and a direct border with North Korea. But Kim Jong-un may be interested in something much more important: military technology. North Korea has made major advances in nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, but it still has weaknesses in areas like satellites, air defense, submarines, sensors, and other advanced systems. Russia has decades of experience in many of those exact areas. Now we have to be careful. We don't know exactly what military technology Russia may be transferring, but even limited assistance could help North Korea solve technical problems much faster. That directly leads to better missiles, better satellites, better air defense, better submarine technology. Changes like that, they can affect the balance of power. Russia also gives Kim Jong-un something North Korea has wanted for years: another major power to work with. North Korea has traditionally depended heavily on China. A closer relationship with Moscow gives Pyongyang another source of trade, diplomatic support, and political protection. The war is giving Kim something he rarely has: leverage. Russia needs what North Korea has, and Kim Jong-un understands what that is worth. There's another benefit that may be even harder to measure: combat experience. North Korea has one of the largest militaries in the world, but most of its soldiers have never fought in a modern war. Well, Ukraine changes that. North Korean troops fighting alongside Russia are being exposed to drones, electronic warfare, modern artillery coordination, battlefield surveillance, and the realities of fighting an enemy using Western weapons and intelligence. They're learning how troops move when drones are overhead, how positions are concealed, and how ammunition is supplied, how wounded soldiers are evacuated, how electronic warfare disrupts communications, and how modern units survive on a battlefield when almost everything can be detected. Those lessons are difficult to reproduce in training exercises, and when experienced soldiers and commanders return home, they teach others. Tactics change, training changes, doctrine changes. North Korean weapons are also being tested in real combat. Russia and North Korea can see what works, what fails, what gets intercepted, and what needs improvement. Ukraine has become a laboratory for weapons and tactics from countries far beyond Europe. And that means a war in Eastern Europe could improve military capabilities thousands of miles away in Asia. Now, why does this matter for Asia? Well, that's where this becomes much bigger than Ukraine. For years, European security and Asian security were treated as largely separate problems. Russia was primarily a European threat, North Korea was primarily an Asian one. Well, that's becoming harder to say. North Korean ammunition helps Russia fight Ukraine. Russia may help North Korea improve its military. North Korean soldiers are gaining real combat experience, and Moscow is gaining another partner willing to challenge the United States and its allies. South Korea now has to consider the possibility of facing a North Korean military that is more experienced and potentially better equipped. Japan has to worry about improving North Korean missile capabilities. And the United States has to recognize that a conflict in Europe can directly change the military balance in Asia. You don't think China's watching? For years, Beijing has been North Korea's dominant economic and political partner, but Russia gives Kim Jong-un another option. That could make North Korea slightly less dependent on China and more difficult for Beijing to control. So this relationship, it definitely creates an unusual shift. Russia becomes more dependent on North Korea, and North Korea becomes less dependent on China. The war in Ukraine, it connects Europe and Asian security more closely than before. So why does Russia need North Korea now more than ever? Well, because long wars consume enormous amounts of ammunition, weapons, and people. North Korea has a full supply of all three. Russia may be getting the immediate benefit, shells, missiles, soldiers, but North Korea is getting something that lasts much longer. Technology, experience, a stronger relationship with a major power, and a way out of some of its isolation. Russia needed North Korea because of the war, but by the time the war is over, North Korea may be much stronger because Russia needed it. Hey, this is Frank with America's Geopolitics. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. See you next time.